There we go. Now there's audio. Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm just getting things set up here. There we go. Oh, okay. Sorry. There's like a delay on my thing. I'm trying to like make sure it actually works. So now, yeah, there's audio now. Sorry about that. Jeez. It's amazing what turning on a microphone can do, right? Awesome. Nice to see you guys in here. Bear with me just a second while I get everything set up here. I'm gonna go live on TikTok as well. All right, cool. I can see everything. Got the chat going and everything here. So, how is everybody? Go ahead and drop your Spanish questions in the chat. Go ahead and drop them if you got any questions, and I'll be responding to them. Yeah. Hola, hola. Gracias, gracias, gracias. Yo estoy muy bien, Georgie. Muchas gracias. Hola de St. Louis. Hola, Derek. ¿Cómo estás? Awesome. All right. So we are live everywhere. Cool. Yeah. How is everybody? How's everybody doing? So yeah, guys, new stream. Trying to work out all of the things. So I got a question coming in from Luke. Let's see, when to use the subjunctive tense, cuando usar el subjuntivo. Great question. Let's see. Kind of a complicated one because there's so many. All right. Let me start off with what the subjunctive is. Okay. It's technically a mood, but I consider it a verb tense because, you conjugate it like any other verb tense. It is a little bit advanced, so don't freak out too much if you're having trouble understanding what it is. Subjunctive is technically things that aren't real. So think about things that haven't happened yet, things that you wish could happen, things that you hope happen. All these are scenarios of things that just don't technically exist. They're not real. So what you can do is just look at the situations that'll trigger the subjunctive, situations that are most likely to trigger it. Phrases like, I hope that something happens. Phrases like, he told me to do something, because maybe he told you to do it, but you didn't do it. So technically it's not real, right? But instead of you going through your head while you're talking of going, okay, what I'm saying now, is it something that happened? Is it something that's real or not real? Like, that's way too confusing. And native speakers obviously don't do that either. So instead, what you can do is just go, hey, I'm just going to memorize and focus on the situations that are most likely to trigger the subjunctive tense. And hopefully that helps you out. Let me know if you have more questions about that, by the way. I don't know if I explained that or not very well. I finished your vacation. Cool, cool, cool. Muy bien, Michael. Soy de Inglaterra. Qué bueno. Yo acabo de ir a Inglaterra. I just went to England. Conditional tense is literally the word would. So you use the conditional whenever you say would in English. That's it. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Give me 1 second to fix something here. Cool. All right, let me see if I've got any of these questions here from TikTok. Cool. Keep those questions rolling in, guys. Great questions so far. So think about conditional tense again to give you a better example. Is like if I were to say, I would go, that's conditional. He would eat, but he's not hungry. That would eat is the conditional tense. That's all it is. Sí, es muy confuso, Luke. It's very, very confusing. But honestly, the way that I got it to like not be as confusing was to just look at the situations that would be most likely to trigger it, and that honestly helped me out a lot. Yeah, that's a great question, Georgie. I'll get right to that. Yeah, while everyone's getting in here, just want to give you a quick reminder that I've got a free training on how to become fluent in Spanish within a year. It just shows you my methodology, my strategies to accelerate your Spanish learning. So you can scan that QR code. If you have trouble scanning that QR code, by the way, you can just go to the first link in my bio. In my bio, there's a link. The first link, once you click on that, will take you there to sign up. But make sure you sign up for that today. It's a really great training. Anyways, great question about the past tense. So estaba and estuvo, right? Estaba, they both mean was, right? They're both using estar. Estaba is going to be the imperfect tense. Estuvo is going to be preterite tense. So it's really a matter of like, what is the imperfect? The imperfect is used for ongoing situations or situations that haven't like technically been over with and done. Whereas the preterite is the complete opposite, is for completed actions. So whenever you're saying was, like he was there, if he was there and you know he's not anymore, I mean like he left, he's gone, you can use estuvo. And if you're just describing a situation like, yeah, he was over there while I was doing this thing, it's not like a specific him being there and not being there anymore. So you would use estaba. Sometimes there's some gray area when it comes to estuvo, estaba, era, or fue, to be in the past tense between the imperfect and preterite. Sometimes there's some leeway there. I mean, you don't have to be 100% correct every single time. Just when in doubt, use the imperfect unless you're sure that it was a completed action and that it's done and over with. If and that way you're always right, or you'll always be right. You just use the imperfect as like the go-to, and then if anything, just use the preterite only if you're sure that it's an action that is completely over with and done. So you're still stuck on me, they say, and all of those things. So you're stuck on like indirect and direct objects is what you're saying. One of the best ways, by the way, in the next stream, I'm going to get better at this, and I'm going to be able to share my screen. I'll try to do it this stream, and then I can kind of like show you guys and write stuff, so that we can do examples together. But yeah, indirect and direct objects. One of the things you can do is go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give you like 10 different examples and practice examples with it. And you can check your work using that. That's a good way to practice. But think of someone receiving an action. So best example I can give you is if I say, I love you, it's not amo te tú. That's not right. It's te amo. And that's a very common phrase for us to learn in Spanish. So the reason we say te amo is because you are receiving my love. You're the recipient of the action of loving. And we always put those before a verb or attached to a verb that's in its complete form. I'm not going to get into that and confuse you. That's just it's just a matter of looking up where to put indirect and direct objects. But apply that example to different verbs. So if I say I cook for him, he is the recipient of whatever it is that I'm cooking. If I'm saying I'm telling you something, te estoy diciendo or te estoy contando, you are receiving that action of me telling. So try that out and with just a bunch of different verbs. Like take one example of like te amo and think of, okay, instead of me loving you, what are some different actions? I can hit you, I can kill you, I can shoot you, I don't know why I'm thinking of such violent examples here. I can cook for you, I can tell you something, I can show you something. I don't know if I already said that, but that's what I like to do whenever it's a confusing topic. Just take one sentence that you understand really well and then make other sentences with different verbs with it. That you can do that with so many different situations. Sam says that I've heard about people watching TV shows. What's the best way to use it to learn Spanish? What type of show? Um, which language? Awesome question. First of all, if you don't understand everything in like TV shows and movies and whatnot, don't stress out because it's just going to be naturally hard to understand. I can't watch English shows and movies without subtitles sometimes. Like I'm just horrible at it. So definitely put the subtitles in Spanish with the language in Spanish if your Spanish is pretty good, or you can watch it in Spanish with the subtitles in English, and then you can go back and put the subtitles in Spanish, however you want to go about it. Just a fair warning, when you're watching a show or a movie in Spanish with the subtitles in Spanish, a lot of times the subtitles are different, at least slightly different than what's being said. They do this in all movies and shows so that the subtitles fit on the screen, because sometimes what they're saying is longer than what's they're writing. It's just a word of caution. If that's kind of intimidating, something else that you can do is you can um, take a show or movie that you know by heart. Like, let's say for me, I've watched the movie The Incredibles a million times, or any Disney movie. So I would watch that in Spanish, and typically, like Disney and Pixar do really well with the voices where they sound just like the voices in English. So it's really fun to watch that way. And they typically speak slower because the movies are, geared towards children. So movies like that are awesome because you already know what they're going to say in English. So when they say it in Spanish, it's easier for you to process it. But again, put the subtitles in Spanish. That's what I recommend. I've also got some videos on my YouTube of some stuff where I talk in Spanish and put the subtitles in English and Spanish. So maybe you could check that out once we're done here. Let's see. You can't ask questions on YouTube. All right, I'm sorry about that. I will get that fixed next time. It's my first time streaming on multiple platforms, so I'll try to fix that for next time. Thanks for letting me know. I really appreciate that. Hola desde Nueva Zelanda. Cool. No, my Spanish is pretty neutral, but it's definitely like from Latin America. It's definitely not like a Spanish type accent. Go over here to the chat and see some questions from over here. Welcome everybody, by the way. It's nice to see you guys here. Question, can you please asking me to lower the price on a program that's very fairly priced is kind of weird. I mean, think about how much one class costs at a university where they only teach you the present tense. And in my program, you learn every single verb tense and conjugation for less than the price of one semester class at a college. So, and I've got a payment plan. So no. See, when in doubt, use the imperfect. Exactly. You have problems with Seagull. Doesn't mean I'm still working. No, Seagull can mean that you're still doing whatever it is. So if you wanted to say I'm still working, you would have to say sigo plus trabajando. Sigo trabajando. I am because sigo means I continue something. So you're saying it's like you're saying I continue working. That's a good phrase to know in general, like sigo doing something or el sigue doing something. Yeah, I have an awesome pronunciation advice for rolling R's. In fact, I filmed a video on this that for YouTube that I'll be posting sometime next week where I can't like genetically for some reason no matter how much I've practiced, I can't roll my R's with my tongue. Like my tongue will not vibrate and do that rolling R sound, but I'm still able to produce that sound and sound native when I do it. The way that I do it is think about your tongue position. Let me make sure you can see this. Okay. So like if this is, let's say that my fingernails are my teeth. Actually, how can I do this? Okay, let's actually say that this part of my mouth is like my teeth, and these are my lips, right? So your tongue, when you're doing the rolling R sound, comes up right behind your teeth and vibrates like this. So people push a lot of air through, and then they're able to vibrate their tongue. I can't do that; my tongue won't vibrate. So what I do is I just start my tongue farther back in my mouth, and I just make one like long motion towards, my lips, basically. So I do that. So if I'm going to say like realmente or correr, right? It sounds decent. It might not be perfect, but it sounds good. And I'm able to produce that rolling R sound. So that's a good tip to do if you can't roll your R's. And for the single R sound, think of like the letter, the double T in little, or the double T in butter. Butter, that's exactly what that sound should be. Cuando aprendiste, elegiste un acento específico o solo español general. It's basically, this person is asking, when I learned, did I pick a specific accent or did just like general Spanish? General Spanish, like don't worry about your accent because you're gonna sound like where you're gonna sound foreign no matter what you do in the beginning anyway. Focus more on pronunciation. Focus on pronunciation, and then your accent will come naturally depending on whoever it is that you're talking to. So, answer your question, basically just general Spanish. I focused on being able to pronounce well, have good pronunciation, and then the accent just came naturally. Is say basically what's the difference between el se murió, el se no? Say has a lot of different uses. I've got a couple of videos on Instagram, and I'm making a longer YouTube video within a week or two about a lot of the different uses of say. Think of when it comes to like those examples, se murió or enfermo, it's used for reflexive verbs where in the third person you're talking about someone doing an action to themselves. If I were to say se hizo famoso, it's he made himself famous. If I were to say se cepilla los dientes, he is brushing his teeth. Why is that reflexive? Why does it have that say there? Well, it's because he is brushing. He's the one brushing. He's doing that action to himself. So therefore it is a reflexive verb. That's where the say comes in. There's a couple of different uses. And I'll try to think of some more. Say enfermo would be he got sick. It's all say is also used for got. Like there's no word for got plus a verb, and like we have in English that doesn't exist in Spanish. Instead, we use those objects like mete, se, nos to form that get word. Like he got ready, se alistó, etc. Welcome everybody, by the way. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're from, and I also want to know like who are the people right now that you are talking to in Spanish? Is it like coworkers? Why do you want to learn Spanish? I want to know that. Do you want to learn for work, for travel? Por ejemplo, ¿qué le da miedo? In here, is it used usted or him or her? It could be either one. Le is for him, her, or usted. Either one. It just depends on the context and who you're talking about. Spain Spanish, the main differences is the accent and the use of vosotros and a few different vocabulary words. It's not. I tell people all the time, don't worry about the difference between um, Spain Spanish and Latin American Spanish. Okay, don't worry about the difference between those two. Why? Because it's not drastic enough to sit there worrying about. All right, I learned the main people that I. All right, let me reset that. When I learned Spanish, I didn't learn vosotros necessarily. Like I left it till the end. It was just so easy to just learn the other tenses and then come back and learn vosotros. And while I was talking to people online in Spanish, because one of the ways I learned was just talking to a bunch of different people that I would meet online via Hello Talk or Tandem or italki lessons, whatever it was. And I talked to people from Spain, from Colombia, from the Dominican Republic, from Mexico, all of these different countries, and had no issue. My Spanish is Latin American Spanish right now. I go to Spain all the time. I just got back from Spain about a month ago. Have no issue communicating or understanding the people. See, my classes, if you decide to join my classes, they're pre-recorded. I'm glad that tip helped you, man. Thanks. What am I wearing? Ropa. Don't focus on grammar. Field so green 86. Don't worry about grammar. It's always so weird to like call people's names out. I'm sorry. Don't worry about grammar so much. Just worry about figuring out, like in the beginning, just figure out how to say stuff. Just figure out like what do I want to be able to say in English or Spanish? How do I say it in English, and look up how to say it in Spanish. It's the easiest way to get started. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced learner trying to get better, just take parts of your day and figure out how you would say that. See someone from Australia in TikTok, welcome. I got a question about pouring bada. I'll get to that just in a second. Let me get through some of these comments here on Instagram. Exactly what Max said. The grammar will come with time. Again, you don't really know grammar in your native language, English, I don't think. So it comes. Yeah, man, I appreciate your time for being here. St. Louis, Missouri. Ireland, cool. Got a lot of people from Europe here. It's really cool. Let me get through some of these comments and real quick. I mean, I've been to Andalusia. It's not like a huge difference. There's difference. I mean, Spanish is different from country to country to country to country. Colombia, they're going to sound different and have different phrases than Argentinians. Argentinians are going to sound different than Mexicans. Mexicans are going to sound different than Spanish people. Stop worrying about it so much. You'll be okay. Just learn Spanish because it's just one language, okay? And then when you start talking to people from different countries, then you'll pick up on the words that they use, their accent, their phrases, their slang. Like a lot of times with people, like let's say a Mexican's talking to someone from Colombia, sometimes they won't understand some of the things they say because the slang is different. Awesome, Spazzy. Welcome to the course, man. If you guys are interested, by the way, in my program, right here, I'll leave this up for a little bit. It's a free training. You can sign up for it today or tomorrow, and it's a free training on how to become fluent in Spanish within a year. And at the end of that, you get a special discount on my program. So it's a pre-recorded live session. And at the end of that training, it's about 30 minutes long. And by the way, if you can't attend live, if you just sign up, you'll get a link to the replay. But at the end of it, you'll hear more about my program and how to sign up. But I'm going to get back to these questions now. I'm talking solely to Colombian teachers, and I'd like to live there for a time. I'm actually here in Colombia right now, so that's awesome. Colombia is awesome. I'm in. If you're going to go to Colombia, I'd highly recommend Medellin. Medellin's amazing. Bogota's kind of okay. It's very inexpensive as well. But welcome to the program, Spazzy McGee. I love that name, by the way, and it's awesome. Let me know if you need anything. Awesome, Derek. I remember you from some of the last sessions. Yeah, like Andalusians might pronounce C and Z differently. Like those again, it comes down to accent. It's a lot like comparing me and Spazzy McGee's English, right? I'm sure he's from Ireland, so like his English is going to sound a bit different than mine. Oh, by the way, for the free training, you can either click on the first link in my bio on Instagram, or you can try to scan that QR code. From Poland, English speaker, started studying Spanish last year at the university. Awesome. Congratulations and good luck with that, man. That's awesome. Soy de Inglaterra, ir a lecciones grupales semanales con un profesor. Y voy. You want to say y voy, conjugate that ir. From Philly, have many good friends that live in Spain and love to visit them often. Awesome, man. Where do they live in Spain? Estaba ya. Welcome everybody, whether you're from TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. By the way, if you're on YouTube, I apologize if you can't if you can't ask a question. I got to figure that out. I will figure that out. Is Chilean Spanish even Spanish? Now that's a good question that I won't be answering. Estoy pensando en escribir en tu clase, pero solamente estoy disponible los sábados porque estoy trabajando. Georgie, if you're only available Saturdays, I'll say that the program, if you're interested in signing up, everything is self-paced. So it doesn't matter if you're available Saturday or Monday or at midnight or at 3 in the morning. Whenever you can study, you can study. Everything is pre-recorded videos, so you can access the course at any time, and it's lifetime access, so you'll never lose access or anything. As far as the weekly live sessions, they're different times every week, and I can accommodate you for if you need help with anything. But you can shoot me a DM, by the way, Georgie. If anyone has any detailed questions about my program and whatnot, I'll be happy to answer you in the DMs, in my direct messages. Athens, Alabama, cool. Well, we're kind of neighbors from Georgia. You love the sounds of Spanish. I hope you like the Spanish music too. It's awesome that your daughter's learning, by the way. I mean, I'm telling you guys, if you are considering learning Spanish or considering like really taking it more seriously and getting fluent, I mean, you've got to, this is the best time to do it because Spanish is going to be, it's already so useful and common in the United States. Imagine 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Imagine when your kids, imagine being able to teach your kids Spanish because you became fluent, and then 20 years from now, how your kids will thank you for teaching them Spanish because everyone around them speaks it. ¿Cómo recomendarías moverse desde nivel B1 o 2 hasta C1 o 2? I like to think of that as like, okay, you have a really good base understanding of Spanish, you're intermediate, higher intermediate, and you're just trying to get to that next level of fluency. My best tip, Luke, is to start talking to people. And specifically, if you can get like a one friend group or a couple of specific people and just talk to those people or that person every day as much as you can, or not every day necessarily, that's going to get you to that next level. Because when I was at that level, I started hanging around only native speakers, and that got me there quick. I promise you can get from like a B1, B2 to C1 or C2 within a month or two if you just surround yourself in the language and you just surround yourself with people that speak Spanish to you as much as possible. So Porque po, what is that, Spazzy? Sorry. My program is different than most because the way that I the way that I structure it is to get you to go through all of the modules as quickly as possible. And each module is basically different verb tenses and different things that you need to know, from indirect objects to uses of say to the subjunctive to por versus para. Everything is literally everything you need to know about the Spanish language to be able to communicate in as little amount of time as possible. So what a lot of programs get wrong, in my opinion, is that they stretch things out over years and years. Like, we're only going to learn how to talk about the weather, the days of the week, and the present tense. And then, like, a year later, we'll teach the past, maybe. And then a year later, maybe this conditional or subjunctive. When in reality, you can learn all of those things within a shorter amount of time and get to communicating. And think about it like, if you know everything there is to know about the Spanish language, you know how to conjugate in every tense possible, then guess what? All there's left to do is practice. And I also structure the program. The way I teach is the way that I teach here. It's not like grammar oriented. It's really just, here's what it is, here's what it means, and here's how to say it and use it. Got a question from TikTok about por versus para. So I'm going to answer that real quick. And I know that some of you guys had some issues with that as well. When in doubt, use para. All right. I've also got an Instagram reel that I made a few days back about this. And there's also a really good video on this on my YouTube channel. So you can check that out. But while you're here, obviously, I'll answer some of the questions. When in doubt, use para. It's more likely that you're right. And don't treat these as a similar or same word. Like, we like to look at it in English as the word for, and it can mean for, but if you're saying like it's for someone, it's para. If you're saying I did it for someone, like I killed this person for you, or I did it for you, like being dramatic, it's por. So really what I recommend is don't treat it as the same words, because por can mean through, it can mean for, para can mean in order to, para que can mean in the same thing. Para, I mean, there's a lot of, just look at the uses of por and the uses of para, when to use each one in which situations. My same recommendations that I give for the subjunctive tense, and you're going to have an easier time with it. Oh, Chilean Spanish. Okay, I tried. So clueless. Honestly, I don't have any experience with Chilean Spanish. I've heard some people speak it, and it sounds I don't enjoy listening to it. And a lot of people that I know that are native speakers will say the same thing. It is harder to understand. They jumble their words a lot, and that might be the one country where I'm like, maybe stay away from that one unless you know people from there, obviously, because it's going to be harder to understand them. Awesome questions, guys. Keep bringing those questions in. We'll be live for probably another 20-25 minutes or so. Welcome. If you're on YouTube and you can't ask a question, hop on over to Instagram, TikTok also. You can hop on over to Instagram. While I'm waiting on some questions to come in, again, you can scan this code here, or just go to the first link in my bio if you want to sign up for my free training. It's basically going to show you what you need to know, like my methodology, what I did differently, what you can do differently to get you speaking Spanish within a few months from now. I mean, literally within a month or two with this method, you can be speaking Spanish. And if you really, really focus, you can get to a fluent level really quickly, faster than you think. That's what I did. So I'm just trying to teach you see if that works for you as well. You'll get more info on my paid program at the end of it, if you're interested in that. Yeah, Argentina's cool. They use a lot of slang. I saw a really cool video a couple days back where I was talking about the increase in tourism across different Latin American countries, and the one that had the biggest increase in tourism was Argentina. And it was by like a ton. It was like an 80% growth or some crazy number. Like, let's say they had 3 million people visit in 2022, but 2023 they had like 10 million people visit. I butchered those stats, but it was something crazy like that. I got some messages coming in from TikTok. Cool. Thanks for being here, everybody, by the way. And if you're just joining, please drop in those questions you have. Any questions or doubts you have with the Spanish language, or any tips that you'd like me to give you. Happy to help. And how have you guys enjoyed this? Would you guys like me to do this a couple times a week? Maybe make this a daily thing or make this like a weekly thing? I'm considering doing some sort of show where I'd really like. I've wanted to do this for a long time. I'd really like to put together some sort of show where we have different segments. We'll have a Q&A portion. We'll have a part where we listen to Spanish together. We have a part where we speak Spanish together. Um, Guest speakers. I'd really like to get that going. If that's something that you're interested in watching and would like to have that sort of thing scheduled, let me know. Best way to translate lyrics? Google or Chat GPT. Lyrics can be a little weird sometimes because sometimes, like in English, when we do lyrics to songs, can sound a little bit off, or like we mix around the English language a bit to make it sound better. My biggest tip, though, for listening to Spanish and getting better at listening and speaking it when you're using songs is to sing along to those songs. Um, and definitely sing along. Like, don't just listen to the song. So take a song you like, look up the lyrics, and then sing along to it. Spotify is really good about putting the lyrics on their songs. ¿Qué parte de Estados Unidos vives? Y hay muchos latinos en tu barrio. Yes. So I live, well, I'm not there currently, but I'll be there in a couple months, in Atlanta. uh, Atlanta area, but I might be moving to a different city in Georgia, where I grew up. But uh, there are parts around Atlanta that are literally, it's like you're in Latin America. It's like you're in Latin America. First time here. This is a comment from TikTok. First time here. I have a hard time with when and how to use loque. Loque is if you can replace something in English with that which, use loque. For example, I know what you did. If you can replace that phrase with I know that which you did and it sounds technically right, use loque. Basically, when there's something else going on in the sentence, like what I just said, I know what you did. What you did is that other thing going on in the sentence. So it's loque. Let me know if that makes sense or not. I've also got an Instagram reel on explaining that too. Yes, Madeline, I have an online course. And by the way, I'm not trying to like just constantly promote my training or online course. I really do it because I know that it helps a lot of people, and I know that a lot of people are interested in it. But yes, I do. The best way to sign up for it, click on that free training, go to the first link in my bio, and you'll get a special discount on my online course for signing up for that free training. And at the end of the free training as well, it's about half an hour long. You'll get more info on it and you can sign up for it. So you can sign up for that free training today, or you can shoot me a direct message too if you have any questions. To say something like I have, is it proper to leave off yo? Always yo tengo. Absolutely, you can leave it off. You do not have to put the subject in Spanish like you do in English. And why? Because think about it. Tengo means I have. Doesn't mean anything else because we conjugate Spanish verbs so much. Whereas in English, it's I have, you have, they have, we have, you all have. I mean, the have doesn't change. So if we don't put the subject there, you're going to be lost. You'll have no idea who we're talking about. But in Spanish, since we conjugate so much, we don't have to add the subject there. DM Cross 89. I'd pay for your advice on how to achieve fluently. I've got a free training meant for you. You don't have to pay for it. That's where I show my methodology. And if you're interested in my course, you can check out the end of that training. But thanks to everyone. I see a lot of people are still joining. A lot of people are hanging out. I really appreciate that. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these lives, if you get a lot out of it. I hope that I'm explaining things well. In future lives, I'll be able to share my screen and kind of like do some examples with you guys. I want to make a sort of show out of this. By the way, can we talk about how cool this camera is? So I got this new camera and it follows me everywhere I go. I think it's the coolest thing ever, and the quality is amazing. Spazzy, I think you meant how long it take to become truly fluent. All right, I'll say within my like journey of how long it took. I started to take Spanish seriously. I was like, okay, I want to be fluent. I want to figure it out. So what's the first thing I do? I go on YouTube and look up how to become fluent within months because I'm a really impatient person. I've got ADHD that probably contributes to it a lot too, of me just over obsessing with things for a short amount of time. Um, so I would say within about 2 to 3 months, I considered myself fluent enough to have real conversations. Like within 2 or 3 months, I was talking to native speakers, having full on hour, 2 hour conversations with them, where I didn't have to like translate what I knew in my head. The only thing I really needed was to just get a little bit better at, vocabulary words, but that came with time. And then I would say a few months after that, when I really started to like hang out with more native speakers, which that'll happen, by the way. If you're like, hey, how do I start hanging? How do I meet native speakers? Just taking that first step of learning Spanish and putting yourself out there, it's like a snowball effect. It'll just happen. So eventually, all of my best friends and whatnot, people that were around me, were native speakers. And then I would say a few months after that, I was just 100% fluent to where I didn't have to translate what was being said. I could understand pretty much everything. I could talk fluently. I didn't have to translate in my head. So within a year, for sure. And then every year, like I'm still learning every day. I'm learning English. My English has gotten awful because I use Spanish more than English nowadays. So my English has suffered. But um, yeah, you can definitely do it within some months. And there are people who've done it faster, by the way. I just, again, my ADHD will have me like really hyper focus on it for a few weeks at a time, and then I would take some breaks for like a month or a couple of weeks, and then I come back to it for a week, and then I take 2 weeks off, and then I'd really come back to it for a few more weeks. So it was kind of off and on. Luke, I speak some French. I just got back from France. I was there for about a month. Um, but it's not that great. I can get by, but I just don't have the same level of commitment I had with Spanish to become fluent. Like my desire with French, it's not useful enough in my life to where I'm like, I want to dedicate hours into this language because I'm just not going to use it. So I know enough to where I can speak with someone in French and get by, but just that's it. That's awesome. W64. It's really cool. Oh, they have that type of camera on iPad? Cool. This is a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Hey, what's up, OMMC? I know who you are. I met him in Medellin, actually. It was really cool. Hope you're doing well, and hope you're, I don't know if you're still in Colombia or not, but cool to see you. Difference between volver and regresar. Pretty much nothing. It's pretty much the same thing. Volver, though, has more uses. So you can use volver to say to do something again, like volver a hacer algo, to go, literally to come back and verb again. So whatever verb you want to use. Do I use Spanish professionally? I mean, technically, this is my job, but I know what you mean. I have worked as a translator before, like a phone translator between English and Spanish. So I did use it for that. Um, I've done some different marketing jobs as well, to where it's come in handy, and just in life in general, it is insane, absolutely insane how useful Spanish is. And you don't even realize how useful and how much you needed Spanish until you actually learn it, and you're like, holy crap, I wish I had learned this sooner. Yeah, if you're in Ireland, I've got a lot of Irish people here. That's awesome. But yeah, if again, I just filmed a podcast episode and a YouTube video today talking about this, and the topic is when to go to a Spanish speaking country. And the answer might surprise you. I don't recommend going to a Spanish speaking country until you're pretty, I'm not going to say fluent, but until you've got a really good level of Spanish. And that'll be released tomorrow. But to sum it up, think about if you're not that good at Spanish and you go to a Spanish speaking country, it's going to suck because you're not going to be able to understand what people are saying to you when you thought you could. You're not going to be able to communicate the way that you wish you could. And then you're going to come back all deflated and unmotivated, and you're going to feel like crap because you went too soon. So don't go to a Spanish speaking country until you're pretty decent at Spanish. Yeah, that's the thing is that that's another big thing if you're wanting to learn Spanish. And in fact, by the way, just to promote that free training again, scan that QR code or click on the first link in my bio if you want to learn more about my Spanish program or how I became fluent in Spanish for free. But one of the things that I do in that free training is I make you write down 3 of the things that you want to learn Spanish for, the 3 main reasons why. If you don't have a good enough reason to become fluent in Spanish, you're not going to do it. You're just not. It's too much of a commitment. It's too time consuming. If you just don't care, don't have a good enough reason to learn Spanish, you're not going to, which is why I haven't learned a lot of French because I don't need it. Like I really realistically, and it's hard for us as English speakers to find reasons to learn another language because so many people, I mean, English is so international. You can go to any country and get by with English pretty much. But Spanish, on the other hand, is 100% the most useful language, more than Chinese. Like, no, realistically, do we need Chinese and Russian? If we're being realistic, what is the number one most useful language in the United States today, apart from English? It is Spanish, 100% Spanish. I'm glad to hear your Spanish got better in Medellin. That's awesome. And see, he knew a lot of Spanish too. He went to Medellin. I met him there. He knew Spanish, so he got more out of it, right? Oh, you're Hungarian, but you're in Ireland. Sorry. Still, same advice. Thanks, Spazzy, for being here, man. Keep conquering those modules. Cheers. Creo que muchos latinos me tienen miedo cuando intento hablar con ellos. Must be because maybe. Do I find it difficult in the beginning to have your personality? Yes. You're going to sound like a robot in the beginning. And the way to get over that is just keep talking. Talk to yourself. So talk to yourself on video. Record yourself talking. And also talk to yourself. I've got a mirror. Talk to yourself in front of a mirror. And you'll be surprised with what you look like talking in Spanish. So talking to mirrors, if you're talking to the native speaker, talk while you're driving, make up any excuse to talk while you're in the shower and alone. And it just gets you more comfortable with expressing yourself, with making your personality shine through. I'll be honest though, I think this is pretty cool. I am like a different person in Spanish than I am in English. The words I use, the phrases I use, me in general, I think I'm funnier in Spanish, which is weird. I think that a lot of times I express myself better in Spanish, I feel. So your personality kind of changes from language to language. And my voice, I feel like, changes a bit too. Yeah, if you're trying to understand native speakers when they're talking faster, I would find some people that you can talk to, and just those people. You're going to get used to that one person or that group of people, the way that they talk, the words that they use, the speed at which they talk, have conversations with them. Don't just pop on a podcast and like a YouTube video or a movie in Spanish and expect to understand every word. It's not going to happen. Instead, to get really better at speaking or understanding people when they speak fast is to try to talk to the same people like on a consistent basis. So if you can do that, you'll have a better chance at understanding when other people talk too. Got someone from Sweden. Welcome. Yeah, Derek, speak French. Personality changes for sure. Thanks everyone for joining. If you're on TikTok or Instagram or whatever platform you're on, welcome. Feel free to drop a question, any Spanish question or any tip you need. I'll be happy happy to help, more than happy. And be sure that you click on that QR code or you click on the first link in my bio to save your spot in my free training today. You'll also get more info on my full paid Spanish program if you're interested in that. Plus, you'll get a discount for signing up for that free training. Only say that to help you guys. I really want to get you guys fluent using the best method possible, the fastest, most efficient way possible. I'm not a fan of university or high school type Spanish programs that just take years and years just to learn the 3 tenses. I don't know that Chilean singer, but that sounds pretty neat. I'll have to look up what cities are going to be in Colombia. Maybe I'll go check them out. Welcome, welcome, bienvenido, bienvenido, bienvenido. Welcome to all of you who are just now joining. Awesome to see you here. Awesome to see you here. Got a lot of people joining from TikTok and Instagram. I'll be happy to do more of these lives, by the way, in the future. So, and also on TikTok, I'm sorry about this quality. I promise the quality will be better next time I do this. There we go. Bienvenidos a todos. Welcome, everybody. How many of you would say you're introverted? Because that held me back. I was an introverted person for sure. So it held me back in the beginning. It really held me back. But once I finally kind of got over that and got a little bit more confident in speaking Spanish, my Spanish improved tenfold. An insane amount. Drop those questions, guys. Drop any Spanish questions you have, any comments, tips, concerns, anything you have with the Spanish language. I'll be happy to answer those questions. I'll be on for about 10 more minutes. Be sure to check out my free training on how to become fluent in Spanish within a year also. Click on the first link in my bio or scan that code to sign up now. In general, I don't like people. Okay. I don't know why you're learning languages then. Me guarda después de unas cervezas. Yeah, I speak better after a beer or two too. So that's a good tip. That's the Spanish tip of the day. Yeah, having that first conversation with someone in Spanish is terrifying. But I bet you guys have noticed this as well. Like you're talking to someone in Spanish and the first 5 minutes is terrifying. But once you get over those first 5 minutes, the conversation just flows and it gets better. I'll also give you guys this tip. One of the best tips I can give you for practicing forming sentences and practicing your Spanish, is to text people. Text people in Spanish. Very underrated tip. A lot of people are like, you have to speak it and you have to do this. But the main thing, the reason that speaking is so good is because you're forming sentences yourself. You're forcing your brain to recall information and to do the forming of the sentences. Texting does the same thing. The important thing, one of the most powerful ways to practice Spanish is for you to form the sentences. Not just reading, not listening, not any of that, but speaking and even writing to where you're the one that's making up the stuff. Yeah, I'll check them out. Thanks for joining, everyone. Hola de Florida. Hola desde Colombia. Estoy en Colombia ahora, actualmente. Currently, I'm in Colombia. Let me know, guys, your last-minute questions. I'll be happy to go live again if you enjoyed this. Thank you for being here. I'll be live for about 5 more minutes or so. My preferred app to talk with others is probably Tandem. Hello Talk is another good one. I personally use Tandem. I met my wife on Tandem, so there's that. Maybe I'm a little bit biased. ChatGPT is cool too. If you use your phone for ChatGPT, there's a mode where you can talk to it and it'll talk back, so you can ask it to have a conversation with you in Spanish. My thoughts on the Chilean accent, David? Not a fan. I'm sorry if you're Chilean here. I'm sure you'll understand. Thank you everybody for joining. I probably gonna hop off now. So make sure you sign up for that free training. Scan that QR code. Go to the first link in my bio. If you're somewhat interested at all in my paid Spanish program, you'll get a discount for signing up for that free training, and you'll learn more about it at the end. I'm only saying that over and over again to make sure that people that join have a chance to check it out and know about that. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. This should be recorded, I think, and you can watch this if you missed any of this. We had some really great questions, and you should be able to speed through it. But again, thanks everyone for being here. If you have any other question that I maybe didn't get to, or any question about my program or training or whatever, feel free to shoot me a direct message. If you're on TikTok, shoot me that direct message on Instagram. It's more likely that I'll be able to answer it. So thanks everyone for being here. See you guys in the next one.